Good morning, candidates. Reserve Bank of India grants approval to IFC for acquiring 9.7% stake in Federal Bank Limited. Earlier this year, the private sector lender Federal Bank had raised rupees 959 crore via preferential issue of shares to the World Bank Group member. Federal Bank Limited, Corporate Banking Branch, New Delhi. The Reserve Bank of India has granted approval to the International Finance Corporation to acquire a 9.7% stake in Federal Bank. Earlier this year, the Kerala-based private sector lender had raised rupees 959 crore via preferential issue of shares to the World Bank Group member. The Federal Bank Limited has received an intimation from RBI on September 28 that it has accorded its approval to IFC for acquiring aggregate holding up to 9.70% of the paid-up share capital or voting rights of the bank subject to the conditions specified therein, said Federal Bank in a regulatory filing to the stock exchange on Friday. The approval has been granted with reference to the application made by IFC to RBI, added the bank in its statement. After the central bank's approval, the stakeholding is subject to compliance by other regulatory bodies. The aforesaid approval granted by RBI is subject to compliance with the relevant provisions of Banking Regulation Act, RBI's Master Direction and Guidelines on acquisition and holding of shares or voting rights in banking companies, provisions of the Foreign Exchange Management Act, regulations issued by SEBI, and any other guidelines, regulations, and statutes as applicable, said Federal Bank in its filing to stock exchange. Meanwhile, Federal Bank had said earlier this month it will open 100 more branches this fiscal as part of its increasing focus on lending to small businesses. The Kochi-based lender had opened 75 branches last fiscal. Its executive director, Malini Barrier, told reporters here on the sidelines of the 3-day global SME Financing Summit organized by the developmental lender SIDBI. She said 1/3 of its total loan book of 1,86,593 crore as of June 2023, which rose to 21% on year, was SME loans, and so are the retail and wholesale books. The idea of focusing on SME is that we should be growing in sectors of the economy which is growing faster or which has more credit needs. And the fast growing industry segment in terms of credit is SMEs. At 2:45 p.m., shares of Federal Bank were trading at 0.65%, higher at 147.05. So this is the information about Federal Bank. Candidates going for interview can go through these 2 points. One, IFC acquiring, then 100 branches being opened. Thank you.